It's Thursday, June 21st, 2018. The Golden State Warriors have just repeated their title. Bron's contract with the Cavs is up, and we're waiting to see where he'll go. And seated at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, there is one Slovenian kid who has the potential to be the best player we've ever seen. He had a 50-point triple-double when he was 12. He signed his first professional contract at 13. And at 18, he was the best player in Europe. Not for his age, the best player. NBA scouts couldn't wait to get their hands on him, so...
With the first pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select Deandre Ayton.
Huh? At this point, it's safe to say that Luka is one of the best players in the league. And for many fans, he's the best by far. And it's even safe to say that he was the best player from this draft. So why was he selected third? Also, I want to see how Luka's draft stacks up against the rest in that decade. That's because, in my opinion, the 2018 draft stands neck to neck with 2011 and 2014 as one of the best drafts of the 2010s. So with that being said, let's figure out, is this one of the best drafts of the 2010s? What happened to everyone? And of course, where are they now?
With the first pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Phoenix Suns select Deandre Ayton from Nassau, Bahamas, and the University of Arizona.
With a 7'5" wingspan and a 9'3" standing reach, Ayton was one of the most athletic big men in the world. And that's before he even entered the NBA. In college, Ayton was already a great scorer in the paint, was great at outpowering opponents, and was able to finish around the rim with ease. He was a good passer out of double teams and an excellent rebounder, ranking 16th nationally in defensive rebound percentage and 40th in offensive rebound percentage. Ayton's quick feet allowed him to defend mobile big men and hedge on ball screens. He responded well to coaching at Arizona and was difficult to stop when motivated. But he had some serious weaknesses. For one, mediocre defensive awareness, and occasional lack of effort, and inconsistency running the floor. Many now believe his flaws were overlooked by the Suns due to his physical attributes and the University of Arizona connection. Ayton has been in the league for a better part of the decade. When you look at his basic stats and highlights, you can't call him a bust by any means. But when you dig deeper, things become clear. He was drafted as one of the best players of his generation and was supposed to be a franchise cornerstone. And in 6 years, Ayton doesn't have a lot to show. No all-star team appearances, no all-NBA selections, and not even all defensive teams. He's turning 26 and at times looks like his prime years are behind him. His hook shot was automatic, shooting 6% with 26% of those made unassisted. Over the first 4 years, he seemed to be progressing, and by 2022, he was scoring the second most points in his career, with the least touches per game. Defensively, Ayton held opponents to 48% shooting, but struggled with inconsistent effort. His performance against Nikola Jokic in the playoffs highlighted his potential. But as the Suns were adding new pieces and seemed poised for another deep playoff run, Ayton was sent to Portland. So what can be said about the DeAndre Ayton era in Phoenix? Well, there was no DeAndre Ayton era, unfortunately. Ayton averaged 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists over 300 games in Phoenix, finishing as one of the top rebounders in team history, trailing Charles Barkley. The Suns' trade for Bradley Beal relegated Ayton to a 4th scoring option, making his inconsistency and occasional tantrums harder to overlook. And trading him for Jusuf Nurkic gave the Suns the flexibility they needed without the headache. Is DeAndre Ayton a disappointment? I'd say far from it. Ayton may be underperforming for a number 1 pick, but let me tell you, he's not a bad player by any means. Like, if he'd been picked 6th or later, he would be viewed as a good pick and a good starter. Ayton is already a great center who complements a strong team, but isn't the star. But I still think there's hope for his career to turn out even better than it is right now. Ayton is young, and I think there are 3 key areas he can improve on. Ayton likes finesse moves over power plays. Despite shooting around 50% on floaters and 75% at the rim, he doesn't utilize these shots enough. Less than 40% of his shots are from the floater range, and only 35% were at the rim in 2024. To dominate, he needs to attack more. Ayton also needs to draw more fouls. He's in the 11th percentile for drawing shooting fouls among big men, averaging less than 2 free throws per game despite frequent post touches. Ayton's effort in Portland was impacted by the team's struggles, but he showed potential post All-Star break, averaging 23 points and 13 rebounds on 58% shooting. I feel over time, he can become something like Andrew Wiggins, a former number 1 pick who had huge expectations and didn't live up to them, but can be one of the key players on a winning team.
The Sacramento Kings select Marvin Bagley III from Duke University.
So, what gets a person drafted before Luka freaking Doncic? Well, let's find out. At Duke, Marvin Bagley was named the ACC Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year, leading in both scoring and rebounding. Bagley was an efficient scorer with good range and touch, and his mobility hinted at potential defensive improvement. The Kings, who recently lost their franchise cornerstone, saw Bagley as a perfect fit alongside their promising backcourt of Buddy Hield and De'Aaron Fox. They envisioned Bagley becoming a modern stretch big who could be a good defender, threat at the rim, and a solid shooter. The man did shoot 40% from three-point land in college after all. So you're telling me that made him better than Luka, who was touted as the next European superstar. Oh, and I did find one Redditor that shared the Kings' opinion. Shout out to Mr. Buckets, probably one of the last diehard Sacramento Kings fans out there. Unfortunately, like Sam Bowie, Marvin Bagley has found himself picked between two really talented players, and will always be remembered as the guy selected before Luka. But let's be real for a second. Is Marvin Bagley that good though? Defensively, Bagley struggled to find his position, being too weak to play center and too slow to guard forwards effectively. Despite his hustle, he lacked the instincts and quickness needed for consistent defense. Offensively, he struggled with screen setting and was predominantly left-handed, making him predictable and easier to guard in half-court sets. Bagley dominated at youth levels due to his size and athleticism, but failed to develop the necessary skills and basketball IQ for the NBA. At 25, there's definitely still hope he can improve and find a role as a solid veteran player. However, his potential for stardom seems unlikely. To add to it, his injury history has been a huge downside for him, playing just 208 out of a possible 390 games in his first 5 seasons. He has never played more than 62 games in a season. Despite being a former number 2 pick, he's had limited playing time, averaging 24 through 25 minutes per game. He shifted his focus towards scoring near the basket, significantly improving his efficiency. In his first 5 NBA seasons, 31% of his field goal attempts came from outside 10 feet, compared to just 17% this year. His 3-point rate attempt dropped from 18% to 4%. This change has boosted his true shooting percentage from a mediocre 56% in his first 5 years to a solid 63% this season. By concentrating on his strengths around the rim, Bagley became a more effective and efficient scorer.
With the 3rd pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Luka Doncic from Ljubljana, Slovenia, and Real Madrid.
Some heavy hitters were selected as the 3rd pick in draft history. Harden, Melo, Mikal, Joel, Dominique, and a little known guy some you might have heard of named Jordan. Despite the weight all of those names carry, just 6 years into his career, Luka's name doesn't seem out of place on that list. Entering the draft, it was blatantly obvious Luka was going to be a star. But no one could have predicted Luka Doncic would be this good
on the floor as well, and Powell
this fast.
Luka maneuvers away from the closeout.
But anyone who watched him in his early years knew he was legit. At 19, he won a championship and MVP in Europe, playing against grown men and being the best player on the best team. His rapid transformation from 18 to 19 was unreal. Yet he was still labeled as having low potential for being a finished product. Doncic dominated European leagues as a team, showing clear NBA potential despite concerns about his defense and athleticism.
What went into the decision to not draft Luka Doncic and to go with Bagley at that number 2 spot?
Marvin's for us, better fit, better player, and great talent. So
Kings GM Vlade Divac said Bagley was a better fit and player, but reports suggest a personal issue with Doncic's father influenced the decision. In his rookie season, Luka has been the most impactful player on a team, likely to hover around 500 while flirting with the playoffs. The only rookies to post Luka's numbers of 19.6 points, 5 assists, and 6.4 rebounds for a full season are Grant Hill, Oscar Robertson, and Michael Jordan. At the end of his rookie year, Luka was basically the best 19-year-old we've seen since LeBron. After the rookie season is where things start to get a little crazy. When you look at Luka's first 5 years, they're actually more than comparable to other greats. Dallas Mavericks coach Jason Kidd claimed Luka is already on the same level as NBA legends like Michael, LeBron, and Kobe. Well, to compare these 4 stars, I looked at their first 5 seasons. Stats-wise, Jordan's 32.6 points per game, along with his defensive stats, made him the standout. Luka's numbers slightly edge out LeBron's due to his rebounding and playmaking. Saying this out loud, it's crazy that Michael was able to do all of that in the 90s. But anywho, moving on to the next one, let's look at their playoff success. Bryant's 2 finals appearances and playoff consistency put him on the top. Luka's 1 conference finals appearance is notable, but less impressive compared to the others. Looking at specifically championships and finals appearances, Bryant leads with 2 chips, and Jordan and Luka did not reach the finals in their first 5 seasons. And awards. Jordan's haul of awards solidifies his dominance. Luka and Bryant lag behind with 1 and no major awards respectively. So while Luka still isn't on the GOAT level of MJ and LeBron, he's not that far behind either. Fast forward to today, the only question we still have is, well, is Luka the best player today? Well, that's a complicated question, but let's look at this 2024 season. Nikola Jokic is the reigning MVP at the moment, winning 3 times in 4 years. The race this year was mainly between Luka, Jokic, and SGA. All 3 had 2K numbers. Nikola and SGA had better team records than Luka, but look who made it farther in the playoffs. The MVP is a regular season award, we are all very well aware of the fact, but I think after Luka's playoff run, we can safely say that Luka had the best individual season this year. He took the 5th seed Mavs squad to the finals, averaging 29, 9.5, and 8, and winning the Western Conference MVP in the process. Yes, the Mavs didn't win the title. And yes, Luka doesn't play defense sometimes, and he complains too much all the time. But can you name me 1 or more players in NBA history that led the playoffs in points, rebounds, assists, steals, field goals, 3-pointers, and defensive win shares? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're not naming another player. So what will it take for Luka to be number 1? Historically, NBA fans often regard the finals MVP or a player with multiple championships as the best. Giannis's dominance in leading the Bucks to a 2021 championship, including a 50-point finals game, should have cemented his status. Yet, Curry claimed the title the following year with Antetokounmpo declining. This reflects the NBA's dynamic nature, where 5 different champions, Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, LeBron James, Antetokounmpo, and Nikola Jokic, have emerged in 5 seasons. Despite Luka's impressive stats and league-leading scoring, he still needs a championship win to be considered the best.
The Memphis Grizzlies select Jaren Jackson Jr. from Michigan State University.
Drafted as an 18-year-old, Jaren Jackson Jr. was the youngest player in the 2018 draft pool, but he was considered one of the safest bets. How? And when you look at his resume so far, I think the people were right. He was projected as another modern 2-way big man. And interestingly enough, NBADraft.net compared him to Jermaine O'Neal, a forgotten 2000s All-Star who was also a solid shooter and a defensive beast. At Michigan State, Jackson averaged 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 1 assist per game as a freshman. He set the MSU single-season record with 106 blocks, averaging 3 blocks per game. With that effort, it helped lead the Spartans to a 30-5 record, a Big Ten championship, and a #1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Even back in college, Jackson was known for his superb blocking. His timing, impeccable. Closing speed, great. Plus, he was, and let me get this right, an ambidextrous shot blocker. His shot mechanics weren't looking the best, but his shot was effective. If he could knock it down consistently in the league, that would put him to another level. Jackson quickly proved he can compete with the league's big guys. Excelling on defense as a rookie, he shot a respectable 42.6% from 10 to 16 feet, and drew some comparisons to KG. Jackson made the all-rookie first team and showed early signs of becoming a great shot blocker, using his long reach to block anything from 3-pointers to dunks.
In the NBA, Millsap blocked by Jaren. Bjelica skip pass. Fox blocked by Jaren.
By 2022, Jackson was already averaging 16 and 6, leading the league in blocks and finishing top 5 in Defensive Player of the Year voting. The Grizzlies had an amazing core at that time. Ja Morant and Desmond Bane were handling a bulk of scoring, and Jackson stepped up as a great third option. The Grizzlies were looking like the squad to beat in the Western Conference.
I'm fine in the West.
Next year, Jackson increased his numbers across the board, and even won the Defensive Player of the Year award. The Grizzlies were balling that season, but as most of you remember, this is when the problems for the Grizzlies started. But that's a story for another day. During Ja Morant's suspension, Jackson took on a larger role, averaging 21 points per game, though his shooting percentages dipped. With no Steven Adams or Brandon Clark, he had to do more defensively alongside Bismack Biyombo and Santi Aldama. After Morant's return, Jackson's efficiency improved, but the Grizzlies faced setbacks with injuries to key players, leaving Jackson again as the primary leader. Forced to become the main offensive option, he averaged 22.5 points, 5.5 rebounds, and nearly 2.5 steals, though his block numbers and shooting percentages declined due to increased offensive load. Next season will be crucial for Jaren's career. Will he return to being the number 2 and 3 option, or will his improved scoring and leadership elevate his role? Can he bounce back defensively and prove that his Defensive Player of the Year award was no fluke? And will he establish himself as the power forward or center of the future for the Grizzlies? If he can seize his offensive opportunities and continue improving while playing in his best suited roles, he can exceed even the highest expectations.
With the 5th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Dallas Mavericks select Trae Young from the University of Oklahoma.
This draft will forever be linked to Trae Young and Luka Doncic. As many of y'all know, but the Atlanta Hawks initially drafted Luka Doncic, but they preferred Trae Young. So they traded their number 3 pick, Luka Doncic, to the Mavericks for Trae Young and a 2019 lottery pick. And both have since become franchise superstars. In college, Young had a standout game against Wichita State, scoring 29 points and making 10 assists. ESPN analysts compared him to Steph Curry, but Young saw his game as a mix of Steve Nash, Kyrie Irving, Chris Paul, and Damian Lillard. And he really wasn't wrong. He could pass like Paul, shoot like Curry, and handle like Irving, and score like Lillard. As a freshman, Young averaged 28 points and 9 assists per game, leading the country in both categories. With the NBA becoming a 3-point shooting league, guys like Trae were in demand. He was one of the top guards in his draft class, alongside Colin Sexton and SGA. But he believed that he was the best though. However, at 6'2" and 180 pounds, Young's size was a concern. But despite this, his skills and confidence have proven his game can translate to the NBA. Despite frequent comparisons to Doncic, Young remains unfazed, acknowledging that both have significantly impacted their teams and the league. Young's early NBA years were turbulent. The Hawks fired coaches Lloyd Pierce and Nate McMillan, partly due to Young's disagreements. He missed a game after arguing with McMillan and faced trade rumors. But that didn't seem to affect Trae too much, and at times, he was looking like Steph Curry 2.0 out there. In 2019, he averaged 30 points and 9 assists, becoming the 5th player to average 29 plus points per game and 9 assists. Young would then lead the Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals in 2021. In 2022, he put up 28 points and 9 assists per game, leading the league in total points and assists, becoming only the 2nd player after Tiny Archibald to do so. We can go on and on and on about his stats, but let's focus on the bigger picture here. Despite all the stats, individual performances, and some team success, Trae wasn't really popular around the league. Just look at his last 5 seasons in the league. He only made 2 All-Star teams during this period. And in 2023, he was voted the most overrated player in the league. The following year, Rudy Gobert beat him, but Trae still finished near the top. I think the fact that the Hawks haven't been able to properly build around Young has played a huge part in this perception. In spite of Young's great play, the Hawks missed the playoffs last season, and were eliminated in the first round 2 years prior. So how long will the Hawks continue trying with Trae? The San Antonio Spurs are rumored to be interested in Young. Pairing him with Victor Wembanyama could create a dynamic duo, similar to the days of Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, and potentially opening a championship window for the Spurs. But with Chris Paul signing this summer, it's safe to assume the trade talks are no longer. But what do you think? Will he stay and sign another Supermax, or leave to be on a better team?
With the 6th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Orlando Magic select Mohamed Bamba from the University of Texas.
In his lone season at the University of Texas, Mo Bamba averaged 13 points, 10 rebounds, and nearly 4 blocks per game, leading the Big 12 in rebounding and blocks. His performance earned him spots in the All Big 12 defensive team, second team, and freshman team. But let's be honest, Mo Bamba was and is still a great talent. He had a great name, but all in all, he did get a ton of clout off of Sheck Wes. You were there, you remember. The song was the song back in 2018. Both Sheck and Mo are from Harlem and went to the same school. The two knew each other casually, Mo being a fan of Sheck Wes's music, and one day asked him to put his name in a song. Sheck, in return, made an entire song around his name. The song became a massive hit, as we know, and let's be honest, this kinda overshadowed Mo's career. Drafted 6th by the Orlando Magic, he was seen as a potential star with his ability to protect the rim and shoot from beyond the arc. In his final season with the Magic, Bamba averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds, and 1 block per game in 17 minutes. Despite shooting 50% from the floor and 40% from 3, his performance was inconsistent. His stats were down the previous season, where he averaged 10 points, 8 rebounds, and close to 2 blocks per game. And on the defensive end, he allowed opponents to shoot 57% at the rim. His defense impact was limited by poor positioning and recognition of rotations. Offensively, he made 40% of catch and shoot threes, but still struggled to finish at the rim. He couldn't secure a rotation spot and was traded to the Lakers in 2023, where he only played 9 games, averaging under 4 points in 10 minutes per game. That summer, he signed with the Sixers on the request of Joel Embiid himself. He again averaged 4-4 in 57 games. He did get to start in 17 games where Embiid was hurt, and that was the perfect chance for Bamba to show how good he was. But he only averaged around 6 points and 6 rebounds during that period, so he didn't really do that much. Mo recently joined the Clippers on a 1-year deal. So while he isn't out of the league, there's still a future where he's out of the league in a couple of years. With Paul George gone and Kawhi facing his never-ending barrage of injuries, the Clippers are back to being the Clippers again. Who knows how their season will go? Mo might have a chance to play some significant minutes and show he belongs in this league.
The Chicago Bulls select Wendell Carter Jr. from Duke University.
In high school, Wendell had a 3.6 GPA. He received a scholarship from Harvard and was a 5-star recruit. While his parents wanted him to go to Harvard, he enrolled at Duke instead and had one of the best rookie seasons as a big man. He finished second among Duke freshmen in rebounds, blocks, and double-doubles. Picked 7th, Carter Jr. was part of the Chicago Bulls' young core with Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen. But injuries and inconsistent play held him back. Despite his potential, the Bulls traded him to the Orlando Magic to get all-star Nikola Vucevic. Carter actually became a good fit with the Magic, and in 2021, he would end up signing a $50 million deal that helped secure Orlando's future finances. On the court, he was a key player. In his first full season with the Magic, he averaged 15 points on 53% shooting, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, hitting a career high of 73 points. Defensively, Carter excelled too, especially against stars like Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid. He isn't like that top shot blocker, but he's really good at challenging shots, with opponents shooting 4% worse at the rim when he defends. And this actually makes him really crucial for the Magic's defense. His shot improvement and versatility could make him a cornerstone for the young team. In 2024, Carter Jr. averaged 11 points, 7 rebounds, and 2 assists in 55 games. He has 2 years remaining on that big contract with a $12 million cap hit for 2025. Michael Scotto of Hoop Hypes reported that multiple teams, including the New Orleans Pelicans, have expressed interest in trading for him. The Pelicans are looking to add a center though, with Jonas Valanciunas leaving for the Wizards in the 2024 summer free agency. Recently, Carter Jr. underwent surgery to stabilize that third metacarpal in his left hand. He is expected to make a full recovery after a 4-week evaluation period, and as a stretch big who can do it all, he should have a fruitful career.
The Cleveland Cavaliers select Colin Sexton from the University of Alabama.
The Cavaliers selected Colin Sexton with the number 8 pick in the draft, hoping for better outcomes. ESPN noted that LeBron James's camp liked Colin Sexton, which could have appealed to James, who was surveying free agents at that time. The Cavaliers would use the pick from the Kyrie Irving deal to the Celtics to draft Sexton, aiming to persuade James to stay. Sexton, an athletic slasher with strong defensive abilities, when drafted, Colin Sexton acknowledged James's influence, even calling out to him on ESPN's broadcast, lobbying for him to stay.
Man, LeBron, let's do it. Let's do it. I see you need a few pieces, that one extra piece this past season. Hey, let's do it. Let's go back to the finals. Let's do it.
Colin became the 15th Alabama player picked in the first round and the 4th top 10 pick in the program's history, joining Antonio McDyess, Derek McKee, and Leon Douglas. After joining Cleveland, Colin Sexton led the Cavaliers in scoring for his first 3 seasons. He was a highlight reel dunker too. Although LeBron James wasn't playing with him, he appreciated Colin's efforts from afar. In his 3rd year, Colin boosted his scoring average to 24.3 points per game, up from his 16.7 as a rookie and 20.8 the year after. But Sexton was far from a perfect player, and his Cavs teammates could have told you that. Reports came out of players being unhappy with his ball hog mentality, and things got so bad that by his 3rd season, the opponents would often taunt his teammates by saying, "You know he ain't gonna pass the ball." Even worse, a meniscus tear ended Sexton's 2022 season after just 11 games. Traded to the Utah Jazz, he played 48 games in 2023. Missing 34 due to hamstring issues. Despite this, the Jazz exceeded expectations with 37 wins. Lauri Markkanen became an all-star, Walker Kessler made the all-rookie team, and Colin, well, he had a solid season. The Jazz entered 2024 with a promising lineup and multiple first-round draft picks. At the start of the 2024 season, there were concerns about Colin Sexton's contract value due to his health. However, Sexton exceeded expectations, moving from the bench to the starting lineup. He averaged 19 points and a career-best 5 assists, shooting 39% from 3 and 86% from the free throw line. In simple terms, his contract right now is a steal.
The New York Knicks select Kevin Knox from the University of Kentucky.
Despite a disappointing freshman season, Knox impressed in the pre-draft process. Kevin O'Connor of The Ringer described him as a raw forward with the requisite athletic traits to be a go-to scorer if he puts it all together. Major spoiler, Knox has not been able to put it together. His potential quickly faded away after just 100 games. During his rookie season with the Knicks in 2019, he scored 13 points per game but struggled with efficiency. Defensively, Knox was a liability with poor footwork and slow reactions, making him an easy target for opponents. By 2024, Knox had played around 300 games across 4 teams: the Knicks, the Hawks, the Pistons, and the Trailblazers. In 31 games for Detroit in 2024, he only averaged 7 points and 2 rebounds in 18 minutes per game, with shooting splits of 46%, 33%, and 90%. Playing on a 1-year minimum salary contract, he became a free agent, eligible to sign with any team except the Pistons. Knox played well in the G League in 2023, averaging 23 points, 9 rebounds, and 3 assists on 37% from three-point range, and he recently signed with the Warriors, playing in their Summer League roster. But in all honesty, when you're mainly known for being the guy Zion once ripped the ball from,
Robinson tapped it out to Knox. Zion rips it, punches it home.
We can't say your career panned all that much.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Mikal Bridges from Villanova University.
Mikal Bridges holds the NBA's active record for consecutive games playing since being drafted. Ranked 82nd nationally by ESPNU, he committed to Villanova in 2013. And during his time there, Bridges won the Julius Erving Award and was named All-American. His freshman year was challenging, but he redshirted and later became vital to Villanova's success, helping the team win national titles in 2016 and 2018. Villanova honored him in 2019 by retiring his jersey alongside teammates Ryan Arcidiacono, Josh Hart, and Jalen Brunson. Bridges was acquired by the Suns in a trade with the 76ers. Known for his defense, he finished second in Defensive Player of the Year voting in 2022 and made the All-Defensive First Team. After joining the Nets, Bridges' offensive role expanded significantly. In less than 30 games, his unassisted field goal attempts increased by nearly 5 shots per game. On April 9, 2023, Bridges played his 83rd game of the season, joining a select group of players to achieve this. Despite being listed as inactive after being traded for Kevin Durant, the league preserved his streak of 367 consecutive games, the longest active streak. Since joining Brooklyn, Bridges has played 109 games, averaging 20 points and 5 rebounds per game, and shooting 37% from deep. And things might even get better for Bridges. Less than 24 hours before the 2024 draft, the Nets traded him to the Knicks, reuniting him with his former Villanova teammates Brunson, Hart, and DiVincenzo, who all won that national championship together in 2016. The Knicks are optimistic that Bridges, a rising NBA star, will be the final piece to their championship aspirations.
With the 11th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the Charlotte Hornets select Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from Hamilton, Canada, and the University of Kentucky.
In 9th grade, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was cut by his high school JV team, and by his senior year at Sir Allan McNabb Secondary in Ontario, he had become a standout player. Seeking further development, he attended Hamilton Heights Christian Academy in Tennessee, living with his cousin Nickel Alexander Walker. At Hamilton Heights, Shai's work ethic stood out, helping his team win the 2015 City of Palms Classic. Initially committed to Florida, he later chose Kentucky. At Kentucky, Shai earned SEC All-Freshman honors and led his team to an SEC championship with a notable 29-point game in the final. Drafted 11th by the Clippers, Shai's rookie season saw rapid improvement and strong work ethic, earning him All-Rookie Team honors. Traded to the Oklahoma City Thunder, he thrived under Chris Paul's mentorship, averaging 19 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in his debut.
He's so good when it come to hooping, and he's just an even better person, and I mean that.
Shai's continued growth culminated in his first All-Star selection in 2023, and his debut on the All-NBA First Team. His performance solidified his reputation as one of the league's premier guards, with his scoring, playmaking, and defensive skills. But in 2024 is when SGA really took off. He earned his second consecutive All-NBA First Team selection and was named an All-Star starter. averaging 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, making him a crucial piece to the Thunder's top seed finish in the Western Conference with 57 wins and 25 losses. While this part wasn't talked about nearly as much as his offensive game, but Shai actually played some really good defense this year. He finished second in steals per game in 2024, excelling as an off-ball rover. And he blocked 11 three-point shots, which is the 8th most in the NBA. A lot, and I do mean a lot of people argued he should have won MVP this year.
To me, it screamed for Shai to win it because
the fact that SGA got that little amount of first place votes was disgusting.
I felt Shai Alexander deserved it.
Shai Gilgeous-Alexander should have been the league MVP. I've said that.
Standing at 6'6" with a 6'11" wingspan, Shai's reach allows him to shoot over defenders and excel defensively, including effective wing defense. His intelligent play, composure under pressure, and low turnover rate earned the trust of coaches early on, such as Doc Rivers, who entrusted him with running the offense as a rookie on the Clippers. Despite a lower usage rate compared to his peers like Luka Doncic and Trae Young, Shai's actually thrived in a veteran Clippers team, but the real shout out goes to Jonathan Tjarks for calling it with SGA back in 2019 when the trade happened. He emerged as the ideal foundational player for the Thunder's rebuild, poised to become the face of the franchise following the departures of Russell Westbrook and Paul George. So looking ahead, the question looms: MVP? Championship? Both? With recent offseason additions and a pool of young talent, OKC appears poised to dominate the Western Conference for years to come, especially with their new pickups.
With the 12th pick in the 2018 NBA Draft, the LA Clippers select Miles Bridges from Michigan State University.
Standing at 6'7", weighing 225 pounds, Bridges earned unanimous all Big Ten first-team honors with the Michigan Spartans, averaging 17 points and 7 rebounds per game in his last season. Bridges was praised for his NBA-ready physique and leaping ability, doing pretty good in perimeter shooting, off-ball movement, and pick-and-roll situations at Michigan State. Despite the Hornets' attempts to arrange a workout, Bridges missed the opportunity due to unforeseen circumstances after his training sessions in Los Angeles, disappointing fans who had hoped the team would select Michael Porter Jr. Drafted 12th overall by the Charlotte Hornets after a trade with the Clippers in 2018, and he was playing solid right away. The first thing everyone noticed, of course, was the dunks.
Oh, and Malik Monk steals it away. Monk off the back.
The man did max out his vertical test back in college, and pretty much went viral on Twitter because of it. By his third season, he has become one of the best young bench players, averaging 12 and 6, and even receiving some of the 6th Man of the Year votes. That year, LaMelo Ball joined the squad, and the two began developing a great chemistry. They played great on the court and formed a friendship off of it. And it was actually Bridges who gave Melo his Rookie of the Year award. As Bridges became a starter, Miles averaged over 20 points, and was Charlotte's second scoring option. But that's when the off-the-court trouble started. After finishing the 2022 season, Miles Bridges was arrested after being accused of assaulting the mother of his 2 children in front of them. He pleaded no contest to the charge. The league suspended him for 30 games, which is actually the longest suspension of a player for such an incident, although not the first. However, Bridges missed the entirety of the 2023 season, after coming to a mutual agreement with the NBA and the Hornets. The entire season covered 20 games of his suspension, so he only had to miss 10 games of the 2024 season. In terms of playing, Bridges managed to bounce back. He had a decent season in 2024, averaging identical numbers to its 2022 season. He also had some luck on the off-the-court side. In February 2024, it was reported that the most recent charges against Bridges were dropped. His team, on the other hand, wasn't so lucky. The Hornets weren't going anywhere like usual, winning less than 50 games in the past 2 years combined. They're still in the rebuilding / figuring out who their core is phase, but with Miles' contract coming up, they had to make a decision. And so they signed Bridges to a 3-year, $75 million deal. That flexibility will allow the Hornets to trade Bridges more easily if needed. The main thing is, let's just hope that he'll stay out of trouble.
The LA Clippers select Jerome Robinson from Boston College.
Maybe you never saw Jerome Robinson play, but you do know him. From this picture at least. Yeah, he's the guy that looks 40 even though he's not even 30 yet. Overlooked by many Power 5 programs, he found a home at Boston College, thanks to assistant coach Scott Spinelli's keen eye for talent. Despite early setbacks, including a winless ACC season and injuries, Robin stayed committed to Boston, showcasing dedication and loyalty. A transformative summer while working with trainer Noah LaRoche in LA elevated his game, leading to a breakout junior season with impressive victories and standout performances. The fact he was selected so high was surprising to say the least. Selected before well-known prospects like Michael Porter Jr., Dante DiVincenzo, Jerome never had a chance to prove himself. Joining the Clippers as they acquired Kawhi and Paul George limited his playing time by a lot. He was traded to the Wizards in 2020, and he struggled to secure a spot on the roster. Although he played with the Wizards in the 2021 season, he later joined the G League's Santa Cruz Warriors, balling out with 20 points, 4 assists, and 4 steals per game. Robinson made it back to the NBA in 2024 with the Warriors on a two-way contract, playing 22 games for the main squad, barely averaging over a point and a half per game and 3.7 minutes per game. In June 2024, Jerome signed his first professional deal in Europe. He's currently playing for Saint-Quentin on the LMB Elite League in France. It's very questionable if we'll ever see Jerome in the NBA again or not. There are players that go overseas to revitalize their career to come back to the NBA, but the majority of the time they end up staying over there.
The Denver Nuggets select Michael Porter Jr. from the University of Missouri.
When people talk about MPJ, his high school dominance is often overlooked. At 6'10", he had exceptional ball handling, an elite shot even at the high school level, athleticism, shot creation, and solid defense. Porter averaged 36 points, 14 rebounds, and 5 assists per game, leading his team to a perfect 29-0 record. His dominance hinted at his potential to be a 20-point scorer as a rookie and a perennial scoring leader, drawing comparisons to KD. He was projected to be a top 3 pick, but had major back surgery before the draft. His first surgery during his freshman year at Missouri in 2017 limited him to just 53 minutes of play. Sacramento even told him they would draft him second.
I had rehab from my first surgery that happened in Mizzou, so I just had one pro day. All the teams came to me in Chicago, and I worked out pretty well. I was in some pain, but I thought that was just part of the rehab process. I worked out really good. Sacramento brings me in and is like, yo, like, if you feel good, we're going to take you with the number 2 pick.
Despite the setbacks, the Denver Nuggets drafted him 14th overall in 2018. A second surgery in 2018 caused Porter to miss his entire rookie season, so he ended up making his NBA debut in 2020, playing few minutes, but showing promise. His breakout actually came during the 2020 NBA bubble regular season. He averaged 22 points, nearly 9 boards, making the all-bubble second team. Yeah, remember the all-bubble teams? Very strange times. However, adversity struck again with a third back surgery just 9 games into the 2022 season. This period was quite challenging for Porter and the Nuggets fans, but like usual, MPJ came back. He played 62 games in 2023 and 81 games in 2024, averaging nearly 15 points and 8 rebounds per game in the playoffs, crucial to the Nuggets' journey to the NBA Finals. MPJ is an interesting player, primarily a catch-and-shoot specialist, with 42.9% accuracy on 5.0 attempts per game, second only to Steph Curry. He's also an excellent finisher at the rim and on long mid-ranges. His high release and good jumping ability make blocking his shot difficult. Consistently in the 90th percentile for defensive rebounding, he has improved his defense, though his assist rate remains low. In the 2024 playoffs, MPJ started strong with 23 points and 8 rebounds per game in the first round, shooting dang near 50% from the three-point rate. But his production dipped to 11 points and 6 rebounds per game on 37% shooting in the second round. Amid trade talks due to his hefty contract, his availability and progress make him a valuable asset. Further development in ball handling and playmaking could elevate his game and benefit the Nuggets. Despite speculation, MPJ is expected to remain with Denver, contributing to their future success.
The Washington Wizards select Troy Brown Jr. from the University of Oregon.
Coming from a family deeply rooted in athletics, his mother excelled in track, and his father was a former collegiate basketball player at Texas A&M University Kingsville. So Troy Brown Jr. has a solid foundation. His breakthrough came on the international stage with Team USA at the 2016 FIBA Under-17 World Championship, where his standout performances helped secure the gold medal. Drafted 5th, Brown has played for the Wizards, Bulls, Lakers, and brief stints with the Pistons and Timberwolves. He's averaged around 6 points and 3.5 rebounds, shooting about 42% from the field in 356 regular season games. He's appeared in 15 playoff games, notably reaching the 2023 Western Conference Finals with the Lakers. TBJ recently completed a season split between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Pistons. He posted a little over 4 points and 2 rebounds in 59 games. Just a couple of days before recording this video, The Athletic reported that the Pistons will waive Brown, so we'll see if he gets picked up by another team.
The Phoenix Suns select Zaire Smith from Texas Tech University.
Wow.
Many will remember Zaire Smith as the standout freshman in Texas Tech in 2018. He set a single-season freshman record for the Red Raiders with 417 points and had 10 consecutive games in double figures. After his freshman season, he declared for the NBA draft and got selected at number 16 to the Phoenix Suns and was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. Smith had no significant injuries in high school or college, but fractured his left foot before his rookie season, requiring surgery. During recovery though, he had a severe allergic reaction, leading to a hole in his esophagus, requiring a feeding tube for over a month and losing over 60 pounds. To regain weight, he drank protein shakes and did daily push-ups, practicing early and late at the Sixers facility. He played 6 games for Philadelphia and 11 for their G League team. In November 2020, Smith was traded to the Pistons, waived a week later, and then signed with the Grizzlies and was waived the next day. Now he's healthy and back playing basketball. On February 11th of 2000, he signed a 10-day contract with the Cavaliers but didn't play for them. And by February 23rd, he returned to their G League team, the Charge. He's showing more confidence with his jumper and pull-up attempts, a previously weak part of his game. But if he keeps doing stuff like this,
Couture comes away with it after the steal. Cleveland on the run.
he'll make it back to the league soon.
The Milwaukee Bucks select Donte DiVincenzo from Villanova University.
Donte DiVincenzo had an impressive high school career in Delaware, leading his school to back-to-back state championships. As a 4-star recruit, DiVincenzo accepted Villanova's offer. Though injured during the first title run, he was part of the March Madness winning squads of 2016 and 2018, playing with future Knicks Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, and Ryan Arcidiacono. He was named the Final Four Most Outstanding Player in 2018 too. Drafted 17th overall by the Bucks, DiVincenzo forewent his remaining eligibility with Villanova. He was with the Bucks for 3 full seasons, including the championship run in 2021, although his injury in the playoffs sidelined him from the bulk of the postseason. For a franchise with few first-round picks and limited success, Donte DiVincenzo stands out as one of the best picks in the past decade. Donte had struggled with injuries, including a torn ankle ligament in the 2021 playoffs, which gave him limited minutes in the championship winning run with the Bucks. In February 2022, the Bucks traded him to the Kings in a 4-team deal to acquire Serge Ibaka from the Clippers. He played 25 games for Sacramento in 2022, scoring about 10 points per game. And as a free agent, he signed a 2-year deal with the Warriors. And this is where his luck would turn, because here Donte would get to train with Steph on a regular basis and improve his shooting immediately. His 3-point percentage improved to 43% with averages of 9 points and 4 assists in 26 minutes per game. Opting out of the second year of his contract, he went and signed a 4-year, $50 million deal with the Knicks before the 2024 season, reuniting with his Villanova teammates. With the Knicks, DiVincenzo became an elite shooter, breaking New York's record for most threes in the season with 283, and finishing 3rd behind Luka and Stephen Curry. Despite the Knicks ranking 29th in assists, 92% of DiVincenzo's threes were assisted. He was 2nd in catch and shoot makes and attempts, with 3 out of 7 per game at 41% efficiency. 2024 was amazing for the Knicks. They won 50 games despite the tough Game 7 loss to Indiana in the Eastern semis. However, the future still looks bright. Even though they lost Isaiah Hartenstein, they got Mikal Bridges, and they even have enough cap space to make another big signing. Following the move for Bridges and the massive deal to bring back OG Anunoby, the Knicks' odds to hoist the Larry O'Brien Trophy next year have skyrocketed.
The San Antonio Spurs select Lonnie Walker IV from the University of Miami.
Lonnie Walker got off to a late start in college after suffering a knee injury in the summer before his freshman season. But once he started to build some rhythm, his athleticism and scoring started to show. All signs pointed to the explosive 2-guard being a more effective pro than a college player. At 19, he had a strong foundation and had a long window to develop further skills. He was selected 18th overall by the Spurs. And each year, Lonnie was playing more and more. By his 3rd season, he was averaging double digits. In his 4th and last season with the Spurs, he was averaging 12 points and 23 minutes off the bench. He then signed with the LA Lakers for 1 year at $6.5 million. He played 32 games before knee tendonitis sidelined him. Averaging 15 points, he was a key scorer behind LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. Lonnie returned after missing 14 games but saw limited playing time due to the development of Austin Reeves and new acquisitions like D'Lo and Beasley. Walker spent the 2024 season with the Nets, averaging just under 10 points and shooting 38% from 3. He started strong, posting 15 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists per game on 49% shooting, including 46% from deep. However, a hamstring strain sidelined him for 17 games, and upon returning, his performance dropped to 8 points per game on 39% shooting, including a disappointing 34% from 3. With potential changes to the Nets roster, Walker's future with the team is uncertain.
The Atlanta Hawks select Kevin Huerter from the University of Maryland.
When Kevin Huerter was recruited in high school, he was a 6'3" guard with talent but lacking physical presence. By the time he joined Maryland in 2016, he had grown to 6'7". In his sophomore year, averaging 15 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, he ranked 8th in the Big Ten in 3-pointers per game and 9th in percentage. Drafted by the Hawks in 2018, Huerter became Maryland's first-round NBA draft pick since Alex Len in 2013. Despite initial promise, his development seemed to stagnate, averaging around 12 points per game over the last 3 seasons. Skepticism about Huerter's growth was understandable due to the offensive structure, with Trae Young and others taking most shots. Despite improving his field goal percentage to a career-high 45%, his shot attempts remained around 10 per game. At the end of the 2022 season, Huerter was traded to the Kings for Maurice Harkless, Justin Holiday, and a future first-round pick. He started wearing a headband and playing better than ever. De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis thrived offensively with high IQ shooters, like Huerter, Keegan Murray, and Malik Monk. Huerter set career highs in 3-point attempts with nearly 7, making over 40% of them. Sacramento's offensive rating was 121 with him on the floor, dropping to 113.6 when he rested. The 2023 Sacramento Kings had an elite offense, with Kevin Huerter's emergence being key. However, in 2024, his performance declined to 10 points, 44% shooting, and 36% from 3. A shoulder injury against the Memphis Grizzlies ended his season early, with Keon Ellis replacing him and improving the team's defense. Huerter's struggles began in the previous year's playoff against the Warriors, where he shot just 20% from 3. With 2 years left on his 4-year, $65 million contract, Huerter might be traded, especially with Ellis as a cheaper replacement.
The Minnesota Timberwolves select Josh Okogie from Georgia Tech.
In 8th grade, Josh Okogie's gym teacher nicknamed him Nonstop for his relentless energy, a fitting description of his playing style from middle school to the NBA. Okogie entered the league with strong defense and athleticism. In college, he ranked 2nd in steals per game in the ACC. He was highly energetic and loved playing defense. He could defend multiple positions, and he grabbed half of his rebounds on the offensive end. The last thing definitely transitioned to the NBA, because even today, Okogie at 6'4" is one of the best offensive rebounders that's not a center. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Despite being overlooked in high school, Okogie's efforts in college propelled him to the NBA. He had a 42-inch vertical leap and the fastest 3-quarter sprint at the NBA Draft Combine. The Minnesota Timberwolves selected Josh Okogie 20th overall in the NBA Draft. He quickly established himself as a physical defender. In a game against Houston, he blocked reigning MVP James Harden's step-back jumper, solidifying his role as a lockdown defender. Quote, "I like playing defense. I like being able to get stops and run in transition," end quote. After 4 seasons with the Timberwolves, Okogie entered unrestricted free agency and ended up signing with the Suns in the summer of 2022. His defensive impact with the Suns was immediate, achieving a 108 defensive rating, ranking 14th in the NBA for players with more than 60 games and over 20 minutes per game. He also averaged around 8 points and 4 rebounds per game and won the Suns Hustle Award for the season. When Phoenix acquired Kevin Durant at the trade deadline, it actually created more minutes for Okogie after Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson were traded to Brooklyn. Okogie quickly adapted, learning from Durant's relentless work ethic. And in the 2023 playoffs, Okogie struggled, shooting only 14% from 3 and lacking a lot of confidence, often hesitating on shots. Returning to the Suns for the 2024 season, Okogie started 8 of his first 18 games, averaging 7 points and providing energy and defense. However, his productivity and shooting percentages declined as the season progressed. His offensive limitations and a hip injury further reduced his playing time, and he became a non-factor in the postseason. Okogie's intangibles and defensive effort remained his strengths, but his poor 3-point shooting and finishing around the rim limited his role. And in the summer of 2024, he signed a new 2-year, $60 million deal to stay with Phoenix. But he'll still need to improve his offensive game to become a more consistent rotational player.
The Utah Jazz select Grayson Allen from Duke University.
Allen was one of those guys who was never expected to become a star or anything, but his great college career at a pristine university guaranteed he would be drafted. Allen helped Duke win the 2015 NCAA title and earned All-America and Academia All-America honors in 2016. When he was done in college, Allen was one of the 5 Blue Devils with 1,900 points, 400 rebounds, and 400 assists. A resume like that was enough for the 21st selection, although he did have some incidents that could have been red flags.
Although Booker comes over, and the crowd loves that here at Cameron.
Scouts didn't seem to pay much attention to those. As a rookie, Allen appeared in 38 games with the Jazz, averaging 6 points, 1 rebound, and 1 assist in 11 minutes per game, with his best game coming at the end of the season, where he dropped 40 points on the Clippers.
I bet you could still reach almost to the lane.
Allen hit from behind. Clippers dominate OT.
Well, the last 3 minutes of OT, they really...
Which is still his career high to this day. Despite a rocky start and time in the G League, he made noticeable progress, and at the end of the season, Allen was traded to Memphis with Korver and Crowder for Mike Conley. In Memphis, Allen averaged nearly 10 points per game and had several standout performances. He was later traded to the Bucks, where he averaged another 11 points per game and scored a playoff career-high 27 points against the Bulls. And after 2 seasons, Allen was traded to the Suns. In 2024, Allen had a career year with the Suns, averaging 14 points, 4 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, shooting 50% from the field and a league-leading 46% from three-point range, leading the NBA in three-point percentage. Despite a disappointing playoff performance, Allen's regular season was crucial for the Suns. He signed to a 4-year, $70 million extension, and Allen is expected to remain a core part of the team, with areas for improvement including off-ball movement and defensive consistency. But there's one thing that separates Allen from the rest of the picks in this draft: his dirty plays, and there's lots of them. Allen's reputation for dirty plays began at Duke, where he had multiple incidents which led to him getting suspended indefinitely. Despite the indefinite suspension, he only missed 1 game. In the NBA, these are his greatest hits. 2019, ejected during the NBA Summer League for 2 flagrant fouls on Celtics forward Grant Williams. 2020, Twitter exchange with Hawks star Trae Young over a play Young deemed dirty. In 2021, he was involved in a play that caused Bulls guard Alex Caruso to miss almost 2 months with a fractured wrist after Allen pulled him to the ground. 2022, pulled another cheap shot at DeMar DeRozan on the Bulls, leading to an angry reaction from DeRozan and criticism from Bulls announcer Stacey King.
Somebody needs to give him a 2-piece. I guarantee he'll stop doing that.
To avoid being labeled as a dirty player, Allen needs to drop this act ASAP.
The Chicago Bulls select Chandler Hutchison from Boise State University.
Chandler Hutchison, drafted 22nd by the Bulls in 2018, was a Boise State product known for his 3-and-D potential. He improved his shooting form and was an explosive driver, good team defender, and solid rebounder, but struggled with off-the-dribble shooting and quickness. In his rookie season with the Bulls, Hutchison played 44 games, averaging 5.2 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 0.8 assists. He showcased his potential with performances like a 12-point, 12-rebound double-double against the Clippers and a 21-point game against the Pacers. In 2021, Hutchison was traded to the Washington Wizards, then to the San Antonio Spurs, and eventually signed a 2-way deal with the Phoenix Suns, where he played just 6 games. He later attempted to come back with the Miami Heat's G League affiliate, but despite his promising start, Hutchison's NBA journey was cut short, leading to his retirement at age 26. For his career, he averaged 5.4 points and 3.7 rebounds per game. Injuries and inconsistency prevented him from making any deeper impact on the league.
The Indiana Pacers select Aaron Holiday from UCLA.
The youngest of the 3 Holiday brothers was selected 23rd by the Pacers. Holiday was recognized for his effective shooting, having made over 40% of his 3-point attempts in college. He was also praised for his playmaking ability and defensive potential, though concerns existed about his size and decision-making, particularly with turnovers. Despite limited playing time in his rookie season, averaging 6 points and 2 assists per game, he showed potential, especially during Victor Oladipo's injury. After a stint with the Pacers, he was traded to the Wizards, where he had an opportunity to play bigger minutes, but he had problems delivering consistently. A stint with the Suns saw him providing support during Chris Paul's injury. In 2023, he joined the Hawks, reuniting with coach Nate McMillan and playing alongside his brother Justin. Despite not having an all-star career or anything, Aaron is known around the league for good 3-point shooting and more than solid defense. Plus, he has more than serviceable playmaking skills that can help the starting point guard have a few minutes off during the game. Holiday can be a valuable 7th or 8th man on a winning team, playing right around 20 minutes per game. In 2024, he played 78 games for Houston, averaging 7 points and shooting nearly 45% from 3. And he actually recently signed a 2-year deal with the Rockets.
The Portland Trail Blazers select Anthony Simons from Altamont Springs, Florida.
Named after NBA star Anthony "Penny" Hardaway, Simons averaged 24 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game in his senior year at Edgewater High School, earning the 2000 Florida Class 7A Player of the Year. After a postgraduate year at IMG Academy, instead of going to college, Simons declared for the NBA draft, becoming the first American drafted out of high school since 2005. Simons' rookie year with the Portland Trail Blazers saw limited playing time. He played 141 minutes across 20 games. That's until the standout 48-minute performance in the final game against the Sacramento Kings, where he scored 37 points and 9 assists. Yeah, the last game was reserved for showcasing inexperienced rookies in 2019. Over the next 2 years, Simons averaged around 8 points and 2 rebounds in limited minutes. And in 2021, he won the NBA dunk contest, although it was considered one of the weakest contests of all time.
Oh, well, he's been up. Oh, he put his hand by the rim.
However, his breakout came in the 2022 season, where he averaged 17 points and 4 assists per game. This performance earned him a 4-year, $100 million contract extension in 2022. And the last season, Simons suffered some injuries that restricted him to only 46 games. Despite this, he still delivered impressive numbers, achieving career highs with an average of nearly 23 points and 5.5 assists per game. His shooting remained solid at 43% from the field and 38% from three-point range. However, Simons struggled to maintain consistent performance levels due to the inconsistent lineups of the Trailblazers and other health issues. All of this could potentially affect his role with the team moving forward. However, regardless of where he plays, I think we're looking at a star in the making.
The Los Angeles Lakers select Moritz Wagner from Berlin and the University of Michigan.
Drafted by the Lakers as the 25th overall pick, Wagner's early NBA days were marked by a lot of moving, including a move to the Wizards as part of the AD trade. His time with the Wizards was short-lived, leading to a brief stint with the Celtics, where he was cut a couple games in. 11 days later, he signed with the Orlando Magic. Here, Wagner found stability and began to thrive, especially playing alongside with his brother, Franz Wagner. Mo's role expanded significantly, allowing him to showcase his energetic play and tenacity on the court. Wagner's impact goes beyond statistics. His leadership and team spirit have been crucial for the Magic. His selfless nature and enthusiasm, whether on the court or cheering from the bench, embodied the team's ethos and contribute to his positive locker room culture. Defensively, he excels at drawing charges, ranking 3rd in the league for total charges drawn. He's also kind of an agitator. Remember when Killian Hayes knocked him out?
Wagner, pretty aggressively. Hamid is going to get Wagner right there in the back. Killian!
The Magic are becoming a problem in the East, partially thanks to the great play of the Wagner brothers. In the 2024 offseason, Mo signed a 2-year, $22 million contract with Orlando.
The Philadelphia 76ers select Landry Shamet from Wichita State University.
Landry Shamet was a promising talent at Wichita State, averaging 15 points and 5 assists per game in his sophomore year. Known for his three-point shooting and playmaking, he also showed potential as a defender, boosting his draft stock. Scouts love late first-round guys that can become great 3-and-D players, and contributing is just what Landry did. In his rookie season, he averaged a solid 8 points off the bench, shooting around 40% from 3. He also set a franchise record for three-pointers by a rookie. His career included stints with the Clippers, Nets, and Suns, where he signed a 4-year, $43 million extension. Now with the Washington Wizards, Shamet's experience and shooting skills are seen as a valuable asset in a more veteran role. Despite a recent season averaging 7 points per game, his career three-point shooting average of 38.4% keeps him relevant in trade discussions. The Lakers, among other teams, have shown interest in Shamet, seeing potential in his ability to contribute depth and shooting to their roster.
The Boston Celtics select Robert Williams III from Texas A&M University.
Before earning the nickname Time Lord, Robert Williams drew NBA scouts' attention with his explosive athleticism and defensive prowess at Texas A&M. Despite concerns on how consistent he was on offense and physical strength, Williams' defensive upside and rebounding made him a compelling first-round pick. Drafted by the Boston Celtics, Williams has shown elite defensive potential, but has struggled with injuries, only playing more than 50 games twice in a season. His impact when healthy is significant. In the 2022 season, he was instrumental in the Celtics' deep playoff run, earning all defensive second-team honors and finishing high in Defensive Player of the Year voting. Currently with the Portland Trail Blazers, Williams faces recovery from a significant knee injury. His future hinges on staying healthy and consistently contributing. If he can return to form, he has the potential to be a starting level center or a very high quality backup, especially in defensive setups.
The Golden State Warriors select Jacob Evans from the University of Cincinnati.
Jacob Evans III emerged from the Cincinnati Bearcats as a well-regarded prospect due to his solid all-around play and defensive capabilities. In his junior year, he earned first-team All-ACC honors and was a finalist for the Julius Erving Award. Known for his defensive skills and versatility, Evans averaged 13 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game in college. Drafted by the Golden State Warriors, Evans appeared in 30 games during his rookie season, averaging around a point, rebound, and assist. He had a trip to the NBA Finals but saw limited action. After that, he was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves and then to the New York Knicks, where he was eventually waived. Evans attempted to revive his NBA career with G League stints with the Erie Bay Hawks and Santa Cruz Warriors. His NBA career statistics reflected his struggles, with averages of around 3 points and 1 rebound per game in limited minutes. He is currently playing for the Edmonton Stingers in the Canadian Elite Basketball League.
The Brooklyn Nets select Canan Musa from Bihać, Bosnia and Herzegovina and KK Cedevita in Croatia.
Born in Bosnia, Musa initially played soccer before focusing on basketball. He began playing junior basketball at 8 years old. He attended the Adidas Eurocamp in 2017 and was named the camp's most improved player. During the 2018 season, he was awarded the Eurocup Rising Star Trophy and named the ABA League top prospect. Musa then declared for the 2018 draft and was selected 29th overall, as we know, by the Brooklyn Nets. He signed a rookie contract and spent time with the Long Island Nets of the G League. And in November of 2020, Musa was traded to the Detroit Pistons but was waived in December. In 2021, he went back to Europe, playing the rest of the season in Turkey. He joined Rio Breogán in July 2021 and won the Liga ACB MVP award. He then signed with Real Madrid in 2022, playing a key role in their 2023 EuroLeague championship win. With that, we conclude the first round. This second round actually has a lot of great players, but with how long the video is, I went and just picked the most notable ones.
The Dallas Mavericks select Jalen Brunson from Villanova University.
Jalen Brunson's years at Villanova were marked by significant achievements, including 2 NCAA championships in 2016 and 2018. His leadership and skill earned him the National Player of the Year award in 2018, making him a highly promising prospect. Drafted by the Dallas Mavericks in 2018, Brunson started his NBA career overshadowed by stars like Luka and, at the time, Dennis Smith Jr. Despite this, he was a reliable contributor. His move to the New York Knicks in 2022 is what made Jalen Brunson. In New York, he became the focal point of the Knicks offense, emerging as one of the top point guards in the league. His first season with the Knicks saw him averaging over 20 points and nearly 6 assists per game, while shooting 45% from the field and 37% from three-point range. He led the league in both time of possession and dribbles per game, even more than Doncic or Trae Young, and led all players in usage rate during the playoffs. While Brunson is generally a poor defender, he excels in drawing charges, ranking second in the league with 35 during the regular season. His willingness to put his body on the line is a notable strength. Brunson's influence goes beyond numbers and into the cultural realm, bringing a renewed competitive spirit to the Knicks. Playoff Brunson became a one-man wrecking crew, disproving the notion that small guards can't succeed in the playoffs. He had 5 40-point games, with 79% of his playoff field goals being unassisted, up from 68% in the regular season. Fascinatingly, Brunson's workhorse mentality and performance come on a contract considered an absolute steal, which allowed the Knicks to sign players like OG Anunoby and trade for Mikal Bridges. He recently signed another big deal, but actually didn't take his max offer, leaving space for the Knicks to land more players. While some people say he took a pay cut, I say he's betting on the future. If the Knicks win in the next 3 to 4 years, he will be crowned Mr. New York and will probably sign a generational contract extension in his early 30s.
The New York Knicks select Mitchell Robinson from Chalmette, Louisiana.
Coming from Western Kentucky, he has solidified his role as a key figure for the New York Knicks. Robinson has been crucial in the Knicks' rise in the Eastern Conference, despite numerous coaching changes and significant losses. Oh, and I gotta mention the fact that he blocked 24 three-pointers in his rookie season. Although frequently battling injuries, Robinson's grittiness and capability as a center are evident on the court. Known for his defense and rebounding, he led the league with over 5 offensive rebounds per game before an ankle injury interrupted his season. Long story short, if Robinson can stay healthy, he is a key part of the Knicks scheme. If not, well, then they lose rim protection, which is much needed for them.
The Sacramento Kings select Gary Trent Jr. from Duke University.
Another Duke player, Gary Trent Jr. He didn't attract a lot of attention from NBA scouts, despite putting up over 14 points at Duke as a freshman and finishing third in ACC in three-pointers. The Sacramento Kings drafted him early in the second round and, in a typical Kings fashion, traded him to the Blazers right away. Gary played his first 2.5 years in Portland. He spent a good chunk of his rookie season in the G League, playing only 15 games for the Blazers, averaging below 3 points. But he continued playing better and better each time. By the time he was traded to Toronto, he was averaging 16 points and 3 boards a game. While the last season started to slow, Trent picked it up in the latter part of the season. He averaged nearly 14 points on over 39% from downtown. In the 20 games post-All-Star break, he averaged over 19. While he was playing better and better with the Raptors, Gary is on the move. He just recently signed with the Milwaukee Bucks for 1 year. This will reunite him with Lillard and see him try to win the 3rd ring for the franchise, and help him secure a long-term contract. He's also reuniting with Brook Lopez, who got his first career ejection after an altercation with Gary Trent Jr. So that'll be interesting. Bruce Brown came into the NBA after spending 2 years at the University of Miami. While he averaged 11, 7, and 4 with a steal and a block, he only played 19 games as a sophomore due to a left foot injury. He declared for the draft without hiring an agent so he could go back to college. These are some of the reasons why Bruce Brown slipped to the 2nd round, but in reality, not a lot of people could have thought he'd be this good. Bruce was a good defender in college, had a big frame, and could play all 3 perimeter positions. Bruce ended up having a quiet rookie season, averaging 4.5 points and 2.5 rebounds. However, he started building a reputation as a defensive specialist. In his sophomore season, his numbers more than doubled to 9, 5, and 4 assists. He was then traded to Brooklyn to play with KD, Kyrie, and Harden in 2020. Initially brought in to help with defense, but he started improving his shot while with the Nets. Of course, the most important moment of his career is when he signed with the Nuggets ahead of the 2023 season, the only team that apparently wanted him.
Ty was called Frank actually at like 4 in the morning, was like, he has to sign with Denver. There was no other options. Then Coach Malone called me at like 8 in the morning, was like, I don't know why you're still on the board. I didn't think you would still be here, but I think it's a perfect fit.
There, he became the perfect complement to the team, and along with Jeff Green, provided the spark that was needed in many games. Coach Malone even called him his Swiss Army knife. While he won it all with the Nuggets, they simply couldn't offer him a good enough contract. In the offseason, Bruce signed a 2-year, $45 million deal with the Pacers. However, he didn't even play a whole season with them. He finished the 2024 season with the Raptors, averaging nearly 10 points, 4 boards, and 3 assists in 34 games. But he didn't seem to fit into Coach Darko's system. While Bruce is still a highly sought-after player because of his versatile skill set on both sides of the court, the Raptors will have a tough time trading him due to the NBA's new collective bargaining agreement. Los Angeles is mentioned as a possible destination, but we'll see where Bruce will end up. So how does this draft stack up against the rest in the decade? If you ask me, it makes my list for top 3 in the decade, with 2011 and 2017 on that list. And honestly, it may go down as one of the best of all time once everything's said and done. Guys like Luka, SGA, Trey, Brunson, and Jaren Jackson Jr. are slowly but surely taking over the league as the next wave of all-stars and superstars. Both of the Bridges, Gary Trent, Colin Sexton, Anthony Simons, Michael Porter Jr., and Ayton are all more than serviceable starters who can develop into something more. Even the role players like Dante, Kevin Huerter, and Mitchell Robinson have shown that they belong in the league and will probably play for more than a decade. It may be a question of time when we start talking about the 2018 draft alongside legendary drafts like 1986 and of course the 2003 draft. Time will let us know the answer to that question. However, I do have the 2017 draft and the 2011 draft showing right here for you to watch and to let you decide if the 2018 draft is one of the best in the decade.